Okay, good afternoon everyone.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah,
Good afternoon po.
opo. Ang lesson natin for today is Chapter 7, the Balance Scorecard, a tool to implement strategy. Okay, these are the learning outcomes, expected learning outcomes. Define what is a balanced scorecard. Understand the four perspective of the balanced scorecard. Know the features of a good balanced scorecard. Analyze changes in operating income to evaluate success of a strategy. I'll be presenting that in a theory form muna or yung tawag dito, formula part lang muna because di ko pa natapos yung illustration. Evaluate internal process, performance, and compute the delivery cycle time, throughput time, and throughput efficiency or manufacturing cycle efficiency. Because yung throughput time and manufacturing cycle time is the same. Okay, so what's a balance scorecard? This is a tool for management to translate the mission and strategy into set of performance measures so that you could have a framework for you to implement the strategy. So in short, ang balance scorecard is likened to a financial report or sustainability report. It's just that this balance scorecard is not limited to uh, financial informations only. Meron siyang mga non-financial information na included dito sa report so that you can view it even if you are not in the administration or nasa management, even if you are just tawag dyan, rank and file employee, you can view the balance scorecard. Okay, so as mentioned, merong mga parts yung balance scorecard, financial and non-financial information. So dun muna sa mga financial information, financial perspective, actually all ang tawag dyan, components of the financial and the balance scorecard, meron siyang goals and measure. So either financial or non-financial, we have to set goals and measure sa lahat ng component na yun. And we have 4 components. Una nga itong financial perspective. So in short, whenever you see a balance scorecard, parati mong hahanapin ano ba muna yung goals so that when you read the balance scorecard, maiintindihan mo or nasiset sa mind mo ano yung pine-present niya. So napaka-importante na naiintindihan mo ano yung goals under financial perspective and how did the preparer measure that goals. And then ipe-present niya yung result ng goals na yun. Okay, so again, sa balance scorecard, expect na merong column for goals and measure. Unlike sa financial statement, we classify financial information as either current or non-current. Diba? And then, we can also classify them as to nature or form ng account na yon. So, dito sa balance scorecard, ano naman siya? Goals and measure. So, ano ang purpose ng financial perspective? It answers the question, how do we look at the firm's owner? We all understand, as you are all BS accountancy students, na the financial statement, the purpose of preparing the financial statement is to provide decision makers basis for their economic decisions. Hindi sila makapag-decide kung wala silang makitang financial results. So, and one of the users of information ng financial statement natin ay ang owners. At bago yan lumabas sa other users like banks, creditors, or BIR or government agencies, ang una-una talagang nakakita niyan ay mga owners because they have to approve the financial statement. Now, kapag nakita nila yan, their primary concern is whether kumita or hindi. So, whether they were able to provide incentives for the owners, or kung hindi sila mga owners, mga shareholders or mga creditors. Kaya, yun ang primary concern ng financial information. So, sinasagot niya, ano ba ang itsura ng company natin o ano ang mukha ng company natin sa pananaw ng mga owners natin. Kumikita ba tayo o hindi tayo kumikita? Ganun lang kasimple yung gusto nilang malaman. Kaya, sa financial perspective, sometimes the goal is just to meet the expectations of the owners. And ano yung expectation na yun? Yun yung mga return on equity, return on assets, kung nare-reach ba yung expectations nila. So, for example, ako yung may-ari, I expected a 10% rate of return at the end of the year. At kung nare-reach ba yun? So, how are we going to measure return on asset or return on equity? Yun, meron siyang formula. We have to compute. So, ilalagay mo rin yung how did you measure the goal, kung na-reach or hindi. Okay, so yun ang purpose ng financial perspective. Bakit siya naka-include sa balance scorecard? And another reason, since the financial statements or reports is limited to financial information only, meron daw other information na hindi makita ng ibang users of information dun sa financial statements. Kaya, they included financial perspective dito sa balance scorecard to explain or to connect whether this has an impact or effect on other non-financial information. Halimbawa, another parts kasi ng balance scorecard is yung customer's perspective. And this answers the questions, how do our customers see us? So, they're trying to check whether the financial information has an effect or impact on how we satisfy the needs of our customers. Tinitingnan nila if meron yan connection. So, ganun din ang presentation ng aspect na ito. Merong nakalagay na goals and measure para ma-check natin paano nila measure yung goals na yun o paano na-meet yung goals na yun. So, it's answer the questions, how do our customers see us? These are actually non-financial information. So, ang makikita natin ditong mga examples are percentage or maybe result of a survey from your customers, or maybe numbers of new customers, mga ganun. So, lalagyan mo ngayon yan ng explanation, what's the relationship of this result or yung goals na to dun sa financial perspective natin. Kasi meron daw silang mga relationship. Another component of balance scorecard is the internal operation perspective. Aside from knowing your financial status, yung kasing financial status natin is a combination of internal operation and external factors. Kasi hindi lang naman yan puro external, yung financial statement natin. Marami sa result ng financial statements natin ay dahil sa ganda ng operation mo sa loob, internal operations perspective. Kaya meron din siyang connection doon. Or kung hindi maganda ang result ng financial statements natin, that is because also merong hindi rin maganda sa loob ng internal operations mo. So again, you set a goals and then measure that goals. And this component answer the question, which activity must we excel or must be improved? Okay, so ang last na component ay yung innovation and learning perspective. This answers the questions, how can we continually improve and create value? So aside dun sa internal operation, we need to look also whether we are learning as an organization or as an individual. Because whatever we are doing inside the organization, repeatedly, it is expected na nag-i-improve tayo, na natututo tayo. So dapat nasusukat din natin whether na natututo, learning nga, or there's someone in the organization provides improvement or nagsuggest ng innovation or meron ba tayong binabago to continually provide value sa ating mga shareholders or stakeholders. Kaya meron din siyang connection dun sa tatlo. So each component is connected to each component. So yung financial perspective is connected to customer's perspective, internal operation, and also innovation and learning perspective. And then, lahat yan may connection sa bawat isa. Connected silang lahat. Okay, these are an example of goals and measure. But these examples are not all inclusive, or meaning ito ng lahat yon. You can still set other objectives and other ways of measuring that objectives. These are just an example. And also, hindi dahil nakalagay dito, lahat din ay i-measure o ilalagay na objectives. It depends on the organization. Kung halimbawa sa financial perspective, ang gusto lang niyang i-measure is asset utilization, okay lang yun because that is their objective. Probably that organization is not for-profit organization, kaya hindi mahalaga sa kanila yung return on investment. What is important to them is whether the asset were utilized properly. Kaya hindi required na lahat nitong objectives na ito ay makikita ninyo sa balance scorecard. So isa din iyon sa difference ng financial statement and the balance scorecard. Because in the financial statements, we have standards to follow in preparation for the financial statements. Ito hindi. Merong mga pwedeng ilagay, pwedeng hindi ilagay na mga objectives. It depends on the needs of the corporation or the organization. Okay, so sa financial perspective, ito yung mga sample objectives. Revenue growth. We wanted to check whether our sales is increasing or decreasing or same lang, hindi nag-i-improve. So technically or operationally, how are we going to check if it is increasing or decreasing or just the same? Eh di ang gagawin mo, get the percentage change in the revenue. So kuhanin mo yung sales mo last year as your base, and then yung sales mo this year as your sample. Ang control mo is, ang base mo is yung last year. So you compare the two revenues, madali mo na makikita kung may increase or decrease. Get that change or difference and then convert it into a percentage. You simply divide that change into the base para makuha mo yung percentage change in the revenue. Ganun din sa cost reduction. I want you to realize kapag ka revenue pinag-uusapan, of course, ang target is to increase revenue. Pero pag cost ang pinag-uusapan, the objective is, of course, to reduce or decrease the cost. Wala pa akong maisip na organization na ang purpose is to increase the cost, parating decrease the cost. Okay, so asset utilization, again, kung nagamit ng tama yung ating mga asset. And then, another example naman sa customer satisfaction, yung kasing customer satisfaction, for you to determine whether na-satisfied ang customer or not, is to check your performance in the market, whether your product is being patronized or stagnant siya or hindi na talaga tinatangkilik ng yung mga customer. So, check your market share. So, yun ang core objectives ng determining the satisfaction level of customer, the market share. So, check your percentage in the market share or check the ratings given by your customers. And that's the reason why kung minsan nakakita kayo ng mga customer service in the restaurant or even online, they will provide you online survey. Yan, ang purpose niyan. Kaya kayo nakaka-receive niyan kasi gumagawa sila ng balance scorecard to check their performance in the market. Okay, so again, it's not all-inclusive. Pwedeng lagyan yan or pwedeng iba pa. And then for internal business processes, ang ating objective is to measure the efficiency and effectiveness within the firms with which the firm produces the product or services. So ang pwede mong i-check dyan, ang example ko dito ay sa innovation. Meron ka bang bagong product na in-offer or na develop? So ang way mo ng present mo ng data is alamin mo ilan yung na-produce na bagong product o na-develop na bagong product. Number of new products. In terms of operation, meron bang process efficiency in terms of processes, like decreases in processing time, mga ganon. So ito, quality cost naman, yung pag-aralan natin sa previous chapter na merong prevention cost, inspection cost, at saka ano nga yung apat, internal failure and external failure cost. So pwede mo siyang gamiting pang-measure dito sa internal business processes. Even post-sales services is also part of your internal business processes. Sa innovation and learnings naman, we wanted to measure, of course, yung learnings ng ating mga employees o ng ating mga workers. And for us to determine whether they are learning or improving, check mo yung ratings of your employees. That's the reason why merong performance evaluation and feedback from the employees to check na kung sila ba ay masaya pa or meron ba silang naiisip na dapat natin natutunan sa kanila or itinuro sa kanila. Okay. This is an example of a balanced scorecard. So again, dahil wala namang standard for preparing a balanced scorecard, you can prepare it in a columnar form, katulad ng nasa screen natin ngayon. Or pwede rin hindi ganito ang itsura, basta meron kang isusulat doon na merong part na objective and measure and of course the actual data. So ito, ginawa kong columnar para madaling mabasa. So, sa financial perspective, our objective is to determine if there are increase in the shareholders' value. Pag sinabi mong shareholders' value, yung hinahanap ng shareholders sa atin, and that is of course return on their investment. And para makita kung nagkakaroon ng income, check mo kung lumalaki rin yung sales mo. So, yun yung revenue growth. So, dito, ang target is 6. The actual performance is 6.48. Yung target na 6% may be set up by the management based on their budgeting activity, or it may come from the shareholder or the board kung sila yung nagsiset ng mga target performance. So, dito ang ginamit ay 6, ang actual ay 6.48. So, I guess we were able to reach our target and goes beyond our target. It's just that hindi ganoong kalaki yung itinaas dun sa target, 6.48. And then, sa customer's perspective, pwedeng ang ating objective is to determine if there's increase in market share. And for us to know kung nag-increase yung market share natin, aside from our loyal customer, kasi kung loyal customer yun, di ba, lagi naman silang bibili. So hindi mo makikita dun yung increase in the market share kasi continuously they patronize our product. So pwede mong i-present is yung new customer. So dito, ang target is 40, ang actual is 46. So yes, we were able to meet our target, but hindi siya ganun kalaki yung sobra dun sa target. Only 6 persons ang new natin. So maybe that explains why only 0.48% ang na-increase sa revenue growth natin. Because we don't have much new customer. 46 lang yung nadagdag na bagong customer. And then we check or we present also internal business processes. Ang objective naman is to check whether we were able to meet the delivery dates. So ang measurement is on-time delivery. I think we were able to explain also dun sa previous chapter natin what is on-time delivery. Kung minsan nagre-request ang customer ng other dates kung kailan pwedeng i-deliver kasi kung minsan hindi pa gawa yung paglalagyan kaya yung binibilhan sabihin niya sa Lunes na po, sabihin ng customer pwede bang wag muna kasi hindi pa tapos, pwede bang Miyerkules na, so nababago yung dates of delivery. And kapag nababago kasi, the seller must also adjust kasi sa kanila, sa point of view nila, dapat Lunes and they have other schedules for aside from Monday. Sinet ng Wednesday ng customer, so nagkakaroon din sila ng kanilang sariling tawag dyan, improvement or changes dun sa kanilang scheduling. Of course, papayag naman yung seller dun sa request ng customer. At pag pumayag, so they will implement the change whether they will be able to comply with the request or hindi. So base dito sa ating performance, ang target is 92% delivery on time, but our actual performance is only 90%. So this is how, this is one of the use of the balance scorecard. Kita mo agad kung saang aspect ng processes natin merong need ng improvement. So meron tayong kailangang ayusin in terms of delivery or meeting the specified delivery dates. Kasi hindi natin na-reach yung target natin. So if you wanted to connect this one to the previous components ng customer and financial, pwede naman. Pwede mong sabihin, maybe that's the reason why 46 lang yung new customers natin because nababalitaan nila hindi tayo nakaka-deliver on time based on what we have agreed. And that also affect yung financial natin, kaya konti lang din yung revenue growth. Okay, and then the learning and growth perspective, example is improvement in manufacturing process. In terms, ang measurement natin is number of major improvements in the process. We set at 5 and the actual performance is 5. Sandali lang po . Okay, nasan ako? May tao kasi. Learning and growth perspective. So, ang target natin is 5. Na-meet naman natin. Ang actual performance natin is 5. So, na-meet natin. Hindi nga lang tayo nag-exceed dun sa target. So, good pa din is just that pwede nating sabihin na just barely meet the target. Wala tayong ibang naisip pang improvement. Or maybe because okay na yung process, if we set the 5 as the maximum possible improvement, then okay na din yun. So as you can see, sa balance scorecard, you can create or state a lot of stories on how the organization perform. And that is the purpose kung bakit bakit yan yung 4 na component na pinapakita sa balance scorecard, to provide the reader a complete story and provide the reader a connections or relationship between these 4 components. And also, kita mo din agad sa balance scorecard yung part or activity or area kung saan nangangailangan ng improvement. Katulad nung sa internal business process natin, yung delivery dates, kailangan ng konting improvement dyan. But I want you to also recognize na there is a trade-off between all of these components. We cannot concentrate on one only and then let other component be left behind. Although, again, merong trade-off. Pagka nag-increase ka sa isa, expect na merong kang masasuffer na isa. Kaya yung cause and effect is just parang a hypothesis, or the relationship between the 4 components is just an hypothesis. Hindi yan exactly the result or parang connection doon sa isa. Although you can interpret yon na ganun. Katulad halimbawa yung revenue growth. Although nakita natin nagkaroon ng increase sa new customer, hindi rin naman natin sure or accurately makasabi na yung 0.48 increase in our revenue is due to the new customers. Baka mamaya meron ding mga loyal customers natin na nagdagdag pa o nag-increase din ng binibili sa atin, kaya lumaki din yung ating revenue. Okay. Okay, sa pag-evaluate ng ating balance scorecard, lalo dun sa financial perspective, ang nilagay ko lang kasi dito, revenue growth. Pero we can also measure income growth. And I believe you know the difference between revenue and income. So ito, sales to eh. Pero yung income, we can also check that one kung meron bang increase or changes in our net income. And when you do that, yung income change or income growth, you can further analyze the changes in your income using this three variance analysis. Yung growth component, price recovery component, and productivity component. Okay. Again, I'll just explain this for a while in computational, in formula way. Later na natin siya i-apply so that you can understand it better. Kasi ang accounting is practical course. Unless we practice or applied the concept, dun lang natin siya mas naiintindihan. Okay? Mas naiintindihan. Pero when you read the formula, somehow you will get an understanding of why are we computing this one. Okay, so again, ito ay to explain the change in the net income. Tatlo raw ang dahilan kung bakit mayroong changes sa net income. Growth, price, recovery, and productivity component. So dito muna sa growth component. And the growth component explain the quantity factor or the sales volume factor. I think normal for you to say na whenever there's an increase in revenue or sales, that has an increase in income also. Probably ang reason yan is there's an increase in the quantity of sales or units that we were able to sold. Diba? Kaya lang naman lumaki yung net income mo kasi dumami yung piraso ng benta natin. That is one basic explanation bakit lumalaki ang income. Eh syempre, dumami yung nabenta mong piraso. So how are we going to compute for this quantity factor? Ang gawin mo, kuhanin mo daw yung actual units of output sold this year. Units yun ha, hindi pesos. Ilang piraso yung nabenta mo ngayong taon, ibawas mo yung nabenta mo noong nakaraang taon, makukuha mo yung total na, yung difference ng ngayon at saka noong nakaraang taon in terms of units. At pag minultiply mo yan sa output price last year, pag sinabing output price, simply the price last year. Price last year equals yung difference in units and then yung price multiplied by the price, yun yung total change in your sales this year. Okay, total change in sales or in revenue this year. Pero hindi pa yan tapos kasi ang ina-analyze natin income. So dapat ibawas natin dito sa change na to yung cost. So, ganun uli ang proseso. You get the difference in units, actual units of inputs or capacity that would have been used to produce this year's output, assuming the same input-output relationship that exists last year. Okay. This may seems or this may sound so complicated, but I think I have a little discussion of you what is a normal capacity and actual capacity. Magkaiba yun, di ba? So, sinasabi lang niya na kuhanin mo daw yung dapat na naging output using last year's capacity. So, kung 10,000 yung capacity natin at ang actual mo this year ay 8,000, meron kasing mga cost doon na hindi based on actual, katulad ng overhead natin. So, use the capacity. Okay, I know it may sound so, ano daw, pero don't worry, again, we will apply this one next meeting. So, kuhanin mo yung actual units of inputs. Okay, nakakalito uli yung inputs. Ano ba kasi sir, ba't ginamitan ng inputs? Hindi ba pwedeng sabihin na lang na actual units produced? Mas may intindihan po namin. Kasi nga po, yung kukumputin natin is not based on actual only, but based on whether there is a ratio between the capacity and the actual outputs. Kaya, or actual inputs. Kaya, hindi siya basta-basta multiply sa or pagkuha ng difference. Check mo muna kung may relationship yon o kung yung ratio na yon. So, less actual units of inputs or capacity to produce last year's output, you will get increase or decrease. Multiply your input price last year. Ginamit niyang term is input price, but ang ibig sabihin lang nito ay yung cost last year. Output price is the selling price. Input price is our cost. So total, favorable or unfavorable. So you get the difference or the impact or the effect of these two, yun yung growth component. Next is price. Maybe another basic reasoning mo kapag tinanong ka, why there is a change in the net income? Baka po kasi nag-change kayo ng selling price or nagkaroon po ng change sa cost. Kaya po nagkaroon ng changes sa net income natin. So aside from the changes in the volume, meron ding changes sa price and cost. Kaya merong price recovery component. So, formula, output price this year versus or less output price last year. So you get the changes in the price, multiply the actual units of output sold this year. So you get the changes in the revenue based on price. Sa cost naman, cost this year less cost last year, there's an increase or decrease in cost. Okay, multiply by the actual units of inputs or capacity that would have been used to produce this year's output, assuming the same input-output relationship that existed last year. Hold on. Okay. So yun, get the change in cost and then multiply by the actual units of inputs or capacity that would have been used to produce this year's output, assuming the same input-output relationship that existed last year. I think isa pang good example nitong merong input-output relationship is yung sa raw materials. Halimbawa, ang nagagamit mo is 2 units to produce 1 unit of output. So meron kang 2:1 ratio. And then this year, kung nagbago yan, you still need to use the old ratio, 2:1 ratio. Kung ngayon ay ginawa mong 2.5 of raw materials for every 1 units of output, ibalik mo muna sa 2:1 ratio to get yung would have been used to produce this year's output. Okay? So, by the way, ang sagot pala natin sa lahat ng mga minumultiply natin should be interpreted as either favorable or unfavorable. Pag sinabi mong for you to determine whether favorable or unfavorable, if it will increase your operating income, that's favorable. If it is to decrease the income, of course, unfavorable. And lastly, yung productivity components. Yung productivity is the ratio between your inputs and your outputs. So katulad kanina nung sinabi kong relationship, if last year our ratio of our raw materials to for every output natin, units of output natin is 2, tapos ngayon ginawa mong 2.5 or 3 or 5 or anything that is not 2 or even below 2, nagkaroon ka ng changes. There's also a change in your productivity. Kasi yun yung, the productivity is the ratio between your input and output. Binago mo, so magkakaroon din ng change in the productivity. It's either an improvement or decrease in the productivity ratio. At may impact din siya sa net income natin. Kasi kung 2 pirasong raw materials lang ginagamit natin noon to produce 1 units of output, tapos ngayon ginawa mong 3, then meron siyang impact sa ating cost, and therefore there's a corresponding effect on the net income. Even if you decreased it from 2, ginawa mong 1, there will still be an effect on our cost, and therefore there is an effect dun sa net income. Kaya, as you can recognize, yung difference, ang multiplier natin is the input price last year. Because whatever changes in the ratio of the input and output, wala namang masyado dun sa revenue. Nandun talaga sa cost ang impact nun. Kasi ang inputs naman natin is nasa production cost, raw materials, labor, and overhead. Even sa labor, meron ding effect yan eh. If before, ang ratio natin, ang productivity is say 2 hours for every 1 unit, tapos bumilis ka, naging 1.5 hours per every unit, then meron kang productivity change. And that has an impact on your cost and correspondingly sa net income natin, either favorable or unfavorable. Nandiyan pa ba kayo? Okay pa ba kayo?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so medyo pabigat ang ating mga analysis. Next is the delivery cycle time and throughput time. Yung throughput time is also called manufacturing cycle time. Here in the illustration, yung delivery cycle time is the total time from the receipt of your customer's order hanggang ma-ship mo yung goods. And when you analyze the entire time o yung delivery cycle time, meron talagang time kung kailan ipoproduce ang order ng ating customer. Hindi ba siya pwedeng pagka-order, produce agad? Pwede naman, maybe ang ginagamit mo is just in time. Pagdating ng order ng customer, produce agad. Pero most of the time, hindi ganun, ano? Kasi you still need time to maybe look for raw materials, check your processes, check your laborers, whether nandyan yung merong specialization na kailangan mo or wala, or kailangan mo pang maghanap. So merong konting waiting time, which is ideal na konti or totally wala, kaysa mahaba yung waiting time na yon bago mo i-produce. It will affect your delivery cycle time. Hahaba yung delivery cycle time mo. So, to some organization, there is a benchmark of how much waiting time is acceptable. Sa iba naman, mas konti o mas wala, mas okay. Di ba sa McDo or sa Jollibee, whenever we order dun sa counter, sometimes naka-microphone sila para habang sinasabi mo pa lang yung order mo, naririnig na sa kitchen and then ipoproduce na nila. Meron ba sa inyong nagtrabaho sa fast food chain?
Wala po yata.
Mukhang wala. Hindi tayo nakalusot. Pero nag-try ba kayong mag-apply? Hindi din.
Hindi rin po.
Okay. I have a story. I tried to work in Jollibee yata yun eh. When I was in college, kasi yung mga classmates ko, nag-a-apply sila. Jollibee, McDo. Ako naman, hindi kasi ako nag-a-apply. Halos lahat sila nag-a-apply. Sabi ko, try ko nga din yan. Ano bang meron dyan sa Jollibee na yan? Pero actually, hindi kasi ganun, hindi sa pagbubuhat ng bangko. Hindi ko kasi need. Naisip ko lang mag-apply dahil sila lahat nag-a-apply, ganyan. At sabi nila, may required height, may tinitingnan kung ipapasa ka or hindi. So ako lang ay na-curious. So I tried to apply I forgot whether Jollibee yun or McDo. Basta it's a fast food chain somewhere in Balagtas. Tapos, interview na. Sabi nung nag-i-interview, you're from San Jose del Monte. Nandito sa Balagtas tong fast food chain. Paano ka makakapasok? Di ba sa school, kapag tinuturuan tayo kapag ka-interview, dapat may impress mo yung nag-i-interview sa'yo. Dapat, ano bang tamang term sa impress? Ma-impress. Matuwa sa'yo yung tao, yung nag-i-interview sa'yo. So ako naman sabi ko, okay lang po, kaya po namin yun kasi meron man po kami sasakyan, meron po maghahatid sa akin para makapasok sa trabaho. Ang sabi nung nag-i-interview, okay, next na, hindi ako natanggap in short. So isip ko, ba't ganun? Yung mga classmate ko natanggap. Sabi ko, anong sinabi nyo ba? Sabi nung classmate ko, dapat sinabi mo, wala kang sasakyan, marami kayong magkakapatid, mahirap ka lang, ganito, ganito. Ay, ganun ba? Sabi ko, hindi ko alam. Baliktad pala sa actual na yes, you have to impress them, but you also have to give them the idea na kailangan mo yung trabaho. Kaya, hindi ako natanggap. So I don't have any experience doon sa pagtatrabaho sa fast food chain. Pero gustong-gusto ko sanang magtrabaho because nakikita ko sila, ang bibilis nilang kumilos, parang ang saya-saya sa loob. Pero yung kapatid ko, si Ma'am Angel, you know her, di ba? Nakapagtrabaho yun sa loob ng Jollibee. Na-assign siya sa lutuan ng burger. Umuwi yun, may mga talsik ng mantika, mga ganon. But yun, it's a good experience kung nakapasok sana tayo. But anyway, ang sinasabi ko lang, dito sa delivery cycle time, upon customer's order, hindi always sabay yung production. Kung minsan lang nasasabay, madalas hindi. So may waiting time. And then, mag-start ka na mag-produce up to the delivery of the goods, pero in the production process, meron pa ring mga activity that is value-adding and non-value-adding. Like for example, dito sa illustration natin, sa throughput time, for you to be able to finish your goods process, dadaan ka sa mga process na to. Process time, inspection time, move time, and queuing time. Or queue time. Naghihintay ka, nag-move ka ng mga raw materials and so on. But these three activities are actually non-value adding. Hindi naman siya nakakadagdag sa quality ng ating products na pinoproduce. So, pagka kinompute mo yung talagang value adding lang over the total throughput time, you will get the efficiency cycle time, manufacturing cycle time efficiency, or MCE. Okay? Ayun lang ang buong chapter 7. Hindi ko pa nagawa kasi yung illustration for us to apply yung analysis sa changes in net income. Maybe we will do it next meeting. Plus, we will discuss chapter 8. And then, we still have one Monday, ano? Tama ba sa calendar ko? Sandali nga. Kung kaya pa ng isang Monday. Next Monday is 21. May klase pa ba tayo nun? Sandali, let me...
Meron po ba?
Stop the recording.